A crowded corporate lobby fell silent when the young executive stepped directly into the path of the newest maintenance worker and quietly asked a question that made everyone nearby stop pretending not to listen. She looked into his lowered face and asked why he refused to look at her. Without lifting his eyes, he answered with a voice so calm that it hurt more than anger ever could. He said he was just a poor single dad and people like him learned long ago that looking too high only led to disappointment. No one realized that those few words were about to change two broken lives forever. If you believe kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances still exist in this world, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel so our community can continue bringing you heartfelt stories that remind us all of the power of compassion. Graham Mercer had once been the kind of man who walked with confidence, but life had a strange way of teaching humility. At 38, he lived in a tiny apartment on the edge of the city with his 8-year-old daughter, Cora, whose bright smile somehow survived every hardship that surrounded them. 3 years earlier, his wife had died after a sudden illness that emptied every savings account they had ever built. Medical bills swallowed their home, the family car, and eventually Graham's small construction business. Friends slowly disappeared as his financial problems grew. Clients stopped calling. Debt collectors never did. The only thing he refused to lose was his daughter. Every morning before sunrise, he packed her lunch, braided her messy blonde hair after watching countless online tutorials, walked her to school, and hurried across town to whichever temporary job would help keep the lights on for another month. The maintenance position inside the towering headquarters of Halston Industries paid little, but it offered stable hours during the day, allowing him to be there when school ended. Stability had become more valuable than pride. Every hallway he cleaned reminded him of the career he once had designing buildings instead of polishing office floors. Yet he never complained because every paycheck meant groceries, school supplies, and another chance to tell Cora everything would eventually be okay. On the executive floor worked Evangeline Rowe, the company's youngest operations director. Newspapers described her as brilliant, demanding, and emotionally distant. Employees admired her intelligence but feared disappointing her. She had earned every promotion through relentless discipline after spending her own childhood caring for an ill mother while her father disappeared into gambling debts. Success had become her shield against ever feeling powerless again. Few people noticed that despite the expensive suits and confident posture, loneliness followed her everywhere. For nearly 2 weeks she noticed something unusual. Every employee greeted her directly except the quiet maintenance worker who always stepped aside respectfully without meeting her eyes. At first she assumed he disliked executives. Later she wondered if he blamed wealthy people for his circumstances. Curiosity slowly replaced irritation. That morning, unable to ignore the mystery any longer, she stopped him outside the conference rooms. His answer echoed inside her mind long after he walked away. He hadn't spoken with bitterness. He had spoken with acceptance. The difference unsettled her. Instead of forgetting about him, she quietly asked human resources for his employment file. She expected complaints or disciplinary records. Instead she found years filled with tragedy. Former business owner. Widower. Sole guardian of one child. Outstanding attendance despite working additional daytime delivery shifts during lunch breaks whenever possible. No complaints. Excellent recommendations. Every supervisor described him with the same words: dependable, respectful, humble. For the first time in years, Evangeline felt ashamed of how easily people were reduced to job titles. The following week she deliberately adjusted her walking schedule, crossing paths with Graham more often. He always remained polite but distant. She eventually realized his lowered gaze was not fear of authority. It was protection against humiliation. Somewhere along the way, life had convinced him he no longer belonged in conversations with successful people. One afternoon she happened to pass the employee cafeteria just as Graham quietly divided his own lunch in half because Cora's school had called to say she had forgotten hers. Without hesitation he arranged for a courier to deliver his meal across town while he simply drank water during his break. He smiled while watching the delivery confirmation appear on his phone. No audience. No praise. Just a father making sure his daughter ate. That simple act moved Evangeline more than any charity gala she had ever attended. She found herself thinking about her own mother, who had skipped meals so her daughter would never know hunger. The next day she made an unusual decision. Rather than offering charity, she asked Graham if he would temporarily assist the facilities planning department by reviewing renovation blueprints. She claimed they needed practical construction experience. Graham hesitated, convinced someone else was more qualified, but eventually agreed. When he unfolded the blueprints, something remarkable happened. His posture changed. His eyes focused with quiet confidence. Within minutes he identified structural mistakes that expensive consultants had overlooked. He suggested practical improvements that would save hundreds of thousands of dollars without sacrificing safety. The engineering team stared in disbelief. The quiet maintenance worker understood the building better than many licensed contractors. Word reached senior leadership within hours. For the first time since losing everything, Graham wasn't being noticed for his struggles. He was being noticed for his talent. Over the following weeks he continued assisting the department while still performing maintenance duties. Every recommendation proved accurate. Employees who once walked past him without acknowledgement now asked for his opinion. Some apologized for never learning his name. The promotion everyone expected, however, never arrived immediately. Corporate bureaucracy moved slowly. Bills did not. One afternoon Graham received notice that his apartment rent would increase beyond what he could afford. He smiled through the meeting at work, then quietly sat alone outside during lunch, trying to calculate impossible numbers. Evangeline happened to see him from her office window. Instead of intervening with money, she invited him to participate in an internal competition for an upcoming community redevelopment project. The winning proposal would receive a permanent management position. Many laughed privately when they saw a maintenance worker competing against university graduates. Graham ignored every whisper. He spent every free daytime hour sketching ideas while Cora colored beside him at the public library after school. She proudly announced that her dad built dreams even if other people couldn't see them yet. Presentation day arrived. Executives expected polished speeches. Graham simply told the truth. He explained that buildings were not collections of concrete and steel. They were places where exhausted parents came home, children grew up, neighbors became family, and ordinary people rebuilt their lives after difficult seasons. Every design choice should make those moments easier, not more expensive. Silence filled the conference room. His proposal wasn't just technically brilliant. It was deeply human. Weeks later the redevelopment project won city approval almost exactly as Graham had envisioned it. The company announced his promotion to project development manager. Applause echoed throughout the headquarters. Graham accepted the congratulations with quiet gratitude, but the moment that mattered most came later that afternoon when he picked Cora up from school wearing his new employee badge. She wrapped her arms around him and proudly told every teacher her father finally remembered how amazing he had always been. Evangeline watched from a respectful distance. She realized she had not rescued him. She had simply opened a door that life had unfairly slammed shut years before. In return, Graham reminded her that leadership was never about standing above people. It was about seeing value before everyone else did. Their friendship slowly grew through shared respect rather than romance. They organized community renovation projects, hired overlooked workers, and created apprenticeship opportunities for struggling single parents who simply needed someone willing to believe in them. The company culture transformed because one executive decided to ask a sincere question instead of making assumptions, and one exhausted father found the courage to answer honestly. Months later, during the opening ceremony for the first completed neighborhood center, children filled the playground while families gathered beneath bright afternoon sunshine. Graham watched Cora race across the grass with friends she had never been afraid to make. Evangeline stood nearby, smiling more freely than anyone in the company had ever seen. Neither of them had forgotten the moment in the lobby when a simple question exposed years of hidden pain. Looking back, they understood that the greatest walls people build are rarely made of bricks. They are built from shame, grief, loneliness, and the fear that no one truly sees them anymore. Before this story comes to its close, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever met someone whose quiet kindness completely changed the way you judged people? Please leave a meaningful comment and share the lesson this story reminded you of. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. As the warm afternoon sun settled gently across the city skyline, Graham finally walked through the company lobby without lowering his head. This time he wasn't looking down because he felt unworthy. He was looking forward because his daughter had given him a reason to believe tomorrow could be brighter than yesterday. Evangeline watched him disappear through the revolving doors with quiet satisfaction, knowing that true success was never measured by wealth or titles. It was measured by how many people left your presence believing in themselves again. And sometimes, all it took to begin changing a life was one sincere question, one honest answer, and one person willing to truly see another human being.